Hello guys, welcome back to the channel for the first part of the September news. No camera today, I am feeling a little bit under the weather, so I don't really want the light blaring in my face. But anyway, that's not going to stop me from doing the news. So let's start with the Falcom news first, beginning with the merchandise because Ys 9 Monstrum Nox is getting a novelization that's going to be coming out in spring 2026. It's going to be written once again by Anna Kashina, who did the Ys 8 novelization. I imagine there's going to be some expansions to this as well, like the cooking book with Ys 8 and possibly even audiobooks as well, so that is pretty cool. Like I say, spring 2026 for that. And there's also another Ducky Makara coming out, a body pillow, and it is for Ren. Funnily enough, this is actually not the first one that Ren has had. There was one for the Chinese PC version of Trails to Azure. I imagine some people will buy this, I will not be one of them. But that is going to be releasing in December this year. Anyway, moving over to the developer news now for Falcom, because Edea are going to be porting some PC Engine Falcom titles to modern platforms between the fiscal years 2026 to 2027. Of course, these are older titles from the PC Engine 88, so the first two Xanadu games, the first two Legend of Heroes games, the first four Ys games, so this could be something worth checking out for sure if you're into your more retro games. Now the rest of the Falcom developer news pertains to Falcom in the present day, and we finally have a name, or an official name, for their in-house engine, so the one that they've been using since Daybreak. Very uninspired name, but it gets the job done. It's called the Falcom Developer Kit. Short and sweet, so every time we talk about their engine from now on, we'll be referring to it as the Falcom Developer Kit. And the latest game that is using it, of course, Sky First Chapter's Remake. Kondo has reiterated once again that the Sky Remake is going to be longer than the original. He estimates around about 70 hours, but I do imagine it's going to depend on the player as well. There will inevitably be people who finish it quicker than 70 hours. There will be some who finish it later than 70 hours. We'll have to actually see if that comes through. I'm still thinking it's going to be around about 50 to 55 hours when considering the new content that is in there and the bigger environments, but we will see at the end of the day. I have no intention of rushing the game anyway when it comes out. And finally, for the developer news, I mean, this is something that a lot of people were asking about. I mean, I made a video about this last week about future remakes, the idea that we've got Sky First Chapter now, are we going to get Sky Second Chapter, Sky the Third, and the two Crossbell games potentially? Well, Kondo has effectively, outside of officially announcing it, he's basically confirmed that Sky Second Chapter is going to be coming out. This came from Automaton, where Kondo was quoted as saying, "If Sky First Chapter doesn't get its sequel, our fans will go, 'You've got to be kidding me.'" So I think Kondo is well aware that everyone will want a remake of Sky Second Chapter. You cannot leave Sky First Chapter alone. It makes the most sense now as well because all the assets are there, the hard work is done in terms of what they've done in Sky First Chapter, the locations are done, the models are done, the combat is done. It's just a case of adapting the story of Sky Second Chapter into the Falcom Developer Kit. So yeah, he's essentially confirmed it. When that happens, I don't think it will happen in 2026. I will be surprised if it happens in 2026. I'm not going to rule it out though, but I personally think it will be 2027. We'll be seeing that released, if any time, probably confirmed sometime next year, I imagine. Anyway, to the merchandise now, and we'll be starting with Gust, because there is another Riser figure, and it is a 1/4 scale from Prime 1 Studio. Now, Prime 1 Studio do premium models, I think it's fair to say, and they are very expensive. They're limited, $1,300 for the deluxe version, and only $1,000 for the standard version. It's limited to 800 units as well, releasing between March and May of 2026. So, I mean, only the biggest Riser fans are going to be buying this, but at the end of the day, if you can't afford this one, Riser has a bunch of scale figures to choose from, so trust me, you're not really going to be missing out on too much if you can't afford this one. Moving over to Square now for merchandise, the last lot of merchandise for this period of September. There's a restock of the collector's edition for Final Fantasy Tactics The Evilist Chronicles if you want to get that. And there is also going to be a physical edition run of Star Ocean First Departure R on limited run games for PS4 and Nintendo Switch. The pre-orders have already begun September the 12th, so you can get your order in now if you really want one. I know that some people have issue with limited run games. I'm not going against that as well because I've had issue with limited run games as well very recently with Sky First Chapter. But, you know, if you want to take the chance and get yourself a physical copy of Star Ocean First Departure R, then this is one angle you can go down. Okay, over to the developer updates now, and of course we will be starting with Square as we normally do, because there have been updates in regards to Japan's gacha gaming industry, and the reason we're going to be talking specifically about Square here is because we're aware that they're currently closing down a lot of their gacha titles, not least two that are over a decade old, like Brave Exvius and Dragon Quest of the Stars, and many developers of gachas are basically struggling now to transition over to console development due to an expertise gap, and basically Japan itself, even though they still have some big hits like Fate Grand Order, at the end of the day it's just an oversaturated market now. Even the big new ones that come out like Lesliana or Tribe 9, they pretty much fail immediately, or they just can't get a foothold, compared to big hitters from China and South Korea like Nikkei and obviously Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, all these kind of gacha entries that they just can't get a foothold against. You know, there's just too much competition in the space now, and that's why ultimately Square are moving away from mobile games, you would think, or gacha entries at the very least. So yeah, that's a very interesting one. It's described in Japan at the moment as a sinking Titanic phase for mobile games over there, so we'll have to see how that develops. But anyway, moving back to the console releases, Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD Remake has gone golden ahead of its October 30th release. Just over a month till that comes out. We got an update on the last part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake and Kingdom Hearts 4 from Nomura, who has said that development is progressing smoothly. Let me just bring the quote up here. So this comes from Nomura himself via a 2nd anniversary broadcast of Ever Crisis. He says, "Right, so looking at the comments, I'm seeing people ask every so often about the 3rd entry in the Final Fantasy VII Remake series. Apparently, Toriyama mentioned in an interview that something might be released around the 2nd anniversary of Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, so that's probably where those expectations are coming from. So things are progressing really smoothly, I can't really say more. If I suddenly went, well actually, everyone would be really surprised. So yeah, things are moving along really smoothly, and the release timing has already been decided. We're moving forward according to that schedule now, so please rest assured and be patient." And this has also come up in the comments here and there, but Kingdom Hearts 4 is likewise steadily moving forward according to schedule, so please look forward to it. At least that is progressing without a hitch at the moment. And then finally we go into the ending with the newest Octopath game, Octopath Traveler 0, because we got the full specs revealed in terms of technical specifications for each console and each platform. So the PS5, Xbox Series X and PC will run up to 4K depending on the monitor for the PC version of course, and up to 120 FPS. Series S is going to be at 1080p and 120 FPS, Switch 2 and PS4 will be at 1080p with 60 FPS, and Nintendo Switch at 720p and 30 FPS. In terms of the content though of Octopath Traveler 0, because it's not the mobile game per se, it's kind of like taking the story of the mobile game and then adapting it into a traditional experience. So there is content there from Champions of the Continent, the mobile game, but then there's also about 50% new content which is going to be in Octopath Traveler 0. But to me, that's 100% new content because I never played Champions of the Continent. I had no reason to play a mobile game, so I don't really care about that. But the actual length of the story, that's something to highlight, because even though it's a linear story, or said to be a linear story, it's said that it's 100 hours long for the main story. 100-hour main story, that's pretty impressive, I will say. But it's Octopath Traveler, I'll still play it for sure. I mean, I'm really looking forward to Octopath Traveler 0, and I think a lot of people will check it out as well. Sandfall Interactive now, because the developer are exploring bringing the game to Nintendo Switch 2. A lot of companies are doing this. A lot of companies want to get on Nintendo's good side because Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be big, especially when it starts to bring out a lot more of its big hitters, which we will be going over in the upcoming releases, I assure you. There was a Nintendo Direct. But anyway, Claire Obscure getting onto Nintendo Switch 2? Why not? I mean, bring that game to more people, I say. And then finally, before we get to the upcoming releases, we're going to be going over discussed an Atelier Lesliana's new game coming out on September the 26th. Well, first of all, the game has gone golden. And I mean, I'd be a little bit worried if it hadn't gone golden 2 weeks before release, but it has been done. And there was a little bit more information on Atelier Lesliana, where it sits in, you know, the pantheon of Atelier games. It is going to be sharing that A25 numbering with the gacha entry, so how can I say it? It's basically the codes given to mainline Atelier games. So for example, first Atelier Iris was Project A6, the first Manakemia was Project A8, and all this kind of stuff. When you see that A number, it's an indication that the game is a mainline entry. Stuff like Nelk, for example, doesn't have the A numbering because it's a spin-off title. That's why I was a little bit annoyed when the gacha entry was given that A numbering, because it's not, you know, a gacha entry just doesn't scream to me a mainline entry. So I'm glad in a way that, okay, it's sharing it, but to me, the Atelier Lesliana traditional game that we're going to be getting in 2 weeks' time, that is the true A25 as far as I'm concerned. And it is going to be a prequel to the events of the gacha entry, so you don't need to have any prior knowledge of the gacha entry to appreciate what's happening in this game, which is great because I don't think a lot of people would have played it. And we got a few more interesting tidbits in regards to the opening movie being shared for the first time for Lesliana. It looks great, it looks cute, it looks colourful. Pretty much what I expect from an Atelier game, and the combat was shown off in a 4-minute video, which does look great, I will say that. It seems to be using the link attacks very similar to what was seen in Atelier Sophie 2. Items have a big importance here. You have the 3 in the front, 3 in the back. The alchemists kind of linking their abilities together and throwing items and all this kind of stuff. It's Atelier. It's an Atelier combat system and it looks great. So it's just getting me more and more hyped for the game. September 26th release. Going to be a great game, I think. And like I say, I think I'm going to enjoy that more than Atelier Yumiya. And then finally, upcoming releases, guys. So first of all, one visual novel that took my eye here, which was the visual novel Danganronpa 2x2, which is coming to Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch in 2026. So, you know, Danganronpa, everyone loves Danganronpa. Well, I say everyone loves Danganronpa. I mean, Danganronpa has a big fan base, and I think a lot of people would have been pleased with this one getting ported to modern platforms. And it's also going to have some added content put on there as well to the original game. So, something new even for returning fans. There was also one delay as well for the first part of September, and it is the new Uta Wareru mono game, Shiroe no Michishirube, which is delayed now till 2026, and this doesn't surprise me because we saw nothing about it. It got announced, and we haven't seen any trailers, we haven't seen anything about the gameplay, nothing. So it doesn't surprise me it got delayed till 2026. It's very similar to the Fate Extra Record remake, which basically had nothing said about it. I mean, Fate Extra Record at least had a trailer. Uta Wareru mono had nothing, and a part of this might be because Aqua Plus are in the process of being sold off by their parent company at the moment. That could be contributing to the delay. So I am going to be keeping an eye out for updates in 2026. And now we're going to be ending with the upcoming RPGs. So first of all, action RPG Ys Memoir Revelations in Celceta is going to be releasing on the Nintendo Switch in early 2026. The canonical remake, which of course was known as Memories of Celceta, and now they've changed it to Revelations in Celceta, so that's a strange one, but anyway, that's going to be coming out early 2026. A monster taming RPG called Yami Kids is going to be releasing on PC. That is currently in the Kickstarter phase. Well, I say it's going to be releasing on PC. They hope to release it on PC if the Kickstarter is successful and all goes well in development, so good luck to them. An action RPG, Alabaster Dawn, of course, from Crosscode developers. That's going to be coming to PC. The demo, though, is going to be releasing on September the 18th, so you get a little taste of what that game's all about if you want to give it a go. I dare say those who have played Crosscode are well aware of the pedigree of this developer, so I imagine they'll be trying that one out. The fighting RPG Ys vs Trails in the Sky Alternative Saga is releasing on PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch and PC on October the 10th. That's following the delay that it had. It was delayed till a later date. They didn't really give anything further than that, but now we do have the official release window. The turn-based RPG Digimon Story Time Stranger coming to PC, PS5 and Xbox Series. That has a demo that released. A demo has released on September the 10th and the 11th for those platforms that I just mentioned, and that's going to carry over to the full release, so if you want to get an early taste of what Time Stranger is all about, you can. An action RPG, Fallen Fates, is in the Kickstarter phase, going to be releasing on PC. It in particular has an OST featuring Motoi Sakuraba, and the protagonist is voiced by Ben Starr, whose stock is higher than it's ever been, of course, with the likes of Final Fantasy XVI and Clair Obscur. So, you know, they've definitely got some good names behind that one, so it might be worth checking out, like I say, in the Kickstarter phase. An SRPG, Rise of Eterna 2, that's coming to PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch and PC for October the 9th. The hybrid RPG, Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, coming to Nintendo Switch 2. We already knew this was happening around about, 3 months ago, and that's now got a release date of January the 22nd, 2026. Next, we've got the action RPG Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection. That's going to be releasing on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series, Nintendo Switch and PC in 2026. Funnily enough, this wasn't on the Nintendo Direct in the Western side, or at least I didn't see it for the UK one. It only got updated later on one of the news websites that I followed. But yeah, Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection. Quite a lot of games in that series, so that could be worth checking out. And then the last three are big hitters. We already knew about this first one. Turn-based RPG, Monster Hunter Stories 3, Twisted Reflection, coming to PS5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch 2 and PC, March the 13th, 2026, so it now has that official release date. It looks great. We got a little bit of a look at the gameplay as well. It looks very similar to Monster Hunter Stories 2 in particular, with that turn-based style and kind of combining attacks with the monsties. It looks great. I don't think they needed to change that gameplay at all, so that's only a good thing. And now, a turn-based RPG that leaked about a month ago. We knew, well, I say we knew, it was rumoured that Square Enix were working on this and they wanted to release it in 2026, but Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, releasing on PS5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Switch 2 and PC for February the 5th, 2026. So the leak was right. And it looks great, it really does. I mean, it's using a new art style, Dragon Quest VII as well. It's not the most accessible game in the modern day. Well, I mean, a lot of Dragon Quest games aren't that accessible. Most of them are confined to a handheld. But this is good. You know, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined looks absolutely awesome, and I definitely will be playing that one. This final one, I mean, I said the only reason I'd buy a Nintendo Switch 2 is if this game was announced, or a Xenoblade game. I guess I'm going to have to buy myself a Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026, because Fire Emblem is getting a new mainline game called Fortune's Weave, and it looks, well, I mean, it's Fire Emblem, it looks awesome. Sophis also seems to be returning from Fire Emblem Three Houses. I have no idea why. There's some sort of interconnected story here. I don't know when in 2026 it will be releasing. I mean, we've already got some big hitters for 2026. It never ends, does it? But that is the beauty of it. I'd much rather have a bunch of stuff to play than nothing at all. But there we go, guys. That is the first 2 weeks of September. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks' time. And like I say, the camera should be back on then when I am, well, not feeling under the weather anymore. So take it easy. Peace. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe for more JRPG content, and consider joining my Patreon if you're interested. Peace.